Bree Street, an explosion late yesterday afternoon. We've now had two updates from officials. One was last night, just a few hours after it happened, and again this morning. We've been hearing from the Gauteng Premier and also the Joburg Mayor. Let's bring in Heidi Giokos. Heidi, hello to you. You were at that briefing with the Mayor. An awful amount of detail as to where we are at the moment. Here's my takeaway from it, though. Despite having a lot to say about what the plans are, no one actually knows what caused this. I mean, that was my takeaway from this.
No, we are none the wiser as to what exactly caused that explosion yesterday. We do understand that initially Igoli Gas said it cannot be our pipelines, but they have now detected a small leak. We do understand that Igoli Gas is on site at the moment. My colleague Pule Letshwiti-Jones just tweeted that Igoli Gas is on site doing an assessment. We also know that Sasol has also been brought in as there seems to be some gas pipeline as well that is owned by Sasol. So it seems as though all authorities and all stakeholders involved are on scene, because the Premier is just as confused, just as unsure of what exactly could have caused that. And I think that's what makes the situation a lot more volatile and a lot more unstable and vulnerable, is the fact that we have no idea if there could be a secondary impact to what we saw happen yesterday just after 5 o'clock. There has, of course, been a command center that has been established here at the Mary Fitzgerald Square. It's so cold, I'm even struggling to speak. But it has been established to give constant updates as to what exactly is going on. We do know that the next briefing will be at 1 o'clock. So far, what we have established is that one person has tragically lost their lives. 12 people currently are in hospital. The Premier is going to go to the various hospitals to assess and visit the patients there. Vehicles have been removed, but so far Lillian Ngoyi, which is commonly known as Bree Street, remains closed until further notice, because they cannot ascertain what caused this explosion. They don't know the extent of the damage, and they do not know if there's going to be a secondary impact. So as much as the situation has been brought under control somewhat, Gareth, I would say it remains rather volatile, and the fact that there's so much uncertainty makes it even more dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly does as well. I'm not sure if we have those visuals from earlier, Heidi, when you were a part of that media briefing not too long ago, that if there is concern around a secondary incident, whatever that incident might look like, the biggest concern, and I know you raised this, is the number of people simply ignoring the police, ignoring JMPD, walking underneath cordoned off areas and across Bree Street. Just remind us what the reaction was there, because I get a sense that everyone on the official side thought that it was under control, but the visuals we were seeing showing a very different picture.
No, I mean, it's definitely not under control. Even when we were making our way here and we were still on Bree Street, I mean, the police were screaming at the media to move away, and I was telling them, you can't tell the media to move away because there are hundreds of people trying to get through here, and there's obviously an approach to all of this. You can't restrict the movement of people when there are too many of them and the police are outnumbered, and that's exactly what's happening at this point, is that the police are being outnumbered. But the Provincial Police Commissioner General Elias Mawela said he does understand the situation, and they are trying their very best to bring the situation under control. But people are not seeing the situation as a risk. They're just seeing as the road being damaged, and they don't understand why they can't walk through there. But officials are saying we have to be very careful in terms of allowing anybody to just walk there, because if there is any risk at all, Gareth, for a secondary impact or a gas explosion, it's going to be detrimental, and that's why they have to move people far away as possible as they can. It's not working though, because people are still people are saying, I need to go to this block, or I need to go to this area, I'm not going to walk all the way around. And my colleague Pule is obviously showing you those visuals where the situation is not under control. But according to the police, they are trying their very best to bring the situation under control. They are obviously going to have to deploy more police and perhaps those wardens that have been hired by the Gauteng government to try and control the movements of people just in that area. But it's a very long stretch. And as I mentioned, it's literally the artery of the CBD, because it's so busy and it's just around the corner from Bree Taxi Rank.
Yeah, I mean, apart from the economic impact, as I know you were bringing that up as well, is how long this may very well take, Heidi. I know you asked about timelines, and right now it's a case of how long is a piece of string, or in this case, how long is a crack in Bree Street, because no one has any idea, because right now there isn't necessarily emergency funding to try and give us an idea of how long this could take. We haven't even asked that question properly, have we?
Exactly. No, I did ask the question. I said, you keep saying that you're waiting for reports and analysis and reports from, for example, Egoli Gas, Sasol, a number of other stakeholders. But how long is this actually going to take? We were told last night, Gareth, that 10 water valves have been switched off. We should actually follow up on that question. 10 water valves have been switched off in that area. The electricity has been switched off in the area, and they are just trying to limit as much activity as possible in the area, because we just don't know what's the cause of all of this. And when I asked the Premier how long must we wait before we know what's actually caused all of this, he said he cannot give a time frame. We know that there's going to be another briefing at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I think that will give us further clarity as to what exactly happened and how long it's going to take to resolve this particular matter. What I can tell you though, Gareth, is I don't think it's going to be any time soon that Lillian Ngoyi Bree Street is going to open up. That damage is extensive, and because we don't know what's happening underneath, and because we don't know what the cause of all of this is, it's probably going to take even longer. I did spot the MMC for finance, but he's currently going to be conducting another interview, because the question is, how much is all of this going to cost, and do we have that funding readily available?
Yeah, absolutely. Heidi, you're quite right. I know you asked the question, but I think it was a slip of the tongue from my side. It wasn't answered properly. I meant that you did ask it, but it wasn't answered properly as well. Can we just touch on very briefly, just as I start letting you go so you can go and find everyone that you want to talk to. The Gauteng Premier making a very interesting point, and I feel like this is where the story is going to go next, is Gauteng as a province. We are a mining province. He had a lot to say about sinkholes in our province, in various areas. I was starting to get the sense that he wasn't surprised by something like this, if this is seen to be as a sinkhole. I feel that could be the next story that we follow up once we know what's happened here.
Yes, and you know, you don't want a situation, Gareth, where this is going to be blamed on illegal mining. You know, there's a lot of talk on social media that the media are not speaking about the zamazamas and illegal mining in the area, but we don't know if that is the cause. As much as we do understand that we are a province of mining, and there have been a number of cases of illegal mining that have caused great concern for this province, at the end of the day, we still don't know what it could be, because Egoli Gas obviously coming out and speaking about the fact that they have a small leak or whatever the case might be. But the Premier is saying that they can't exclude the fact that there could be an element of illegal mining that could have caused this, because when there's illegal mining, it obviously impacts the underground structure, and that eventually causes sinkholes and further infrastructure damage. So they're obviously going to investigate this further and try and figure out exactly what's going on. But the word illegal mining has definitely been brought up more than once, and not just today. It was also brought up yesterday by the MMC for Roads and Transport, Kenny Kunene, who said we have to bring illegal mining under control. And I said to him, but why would you say that? Do you suspect that this could be caused by illegal mining? And he said, no, we just need to further investigate. So there's a lot that's being thrown out there, and we just need to figure out the cause of all of this and to make sure that this does not happen and there is no secondary impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Heidi Giokos on the ground for us as well in a freezing Johannesburg CBD, of course, going to be continuing to work her sources throughout this morning. So as you can hear right now, we're all being very, very careful not to blame this on anything, because right now no one actually does know what caused this. There are some leading theories, there are some distracting theories. So that's why we're not going to be going with any one idea at the moment. Even the Gauteng Premier and Joburg Mayor don't exactly know what is going on. But at the moment, we hear from experts on the ground dealing with this issue, this explosion in Bree Street in the Joburg CBD. Of course, we'll bring that to you. So